Sunlight penetrated the hibiscus and carefully pruned live oaks growing alongside the architecturally ambiguous California house. It filtered through the arched windows and dispersed fuzzy shafts of light which fell upon our bodies, writhing in ecstasy. Well, I mean, we were writhing and it was ecstatic, at least from my point of view beneath him. "Oh yeah, baby," I remember chanting over and over. "Oh yeah, baby, yeah. You're so sexy," he kept telling me, which made me moan again and again, of course, to which I'd say, "God damn, you're good and you're so fucking great." You know, the usual things people say in the throes of physical passion. In between my moans, he'd tell me, "You make me so horny, baby," and "Yeah, baby, I love it when you scream." As I recall, we were both saying, "Yeah, baby," somewhat excessively. "You make me scream," I remember screaming. He really was incredibly hot, a fantasy man, handsome, penetrating green gold eyes, and a body like a Greek sculpture come to life. Believe me, I was into it when it was happening, so forgive the seeming detachment from the event. It's a bad habit I've developed from my career assisting other people resolve their legal disputes, emotional distance. But I assure you, I was right there and apoplectic while it was in progress. He wasn't from California or even an American, but I found him a remarkably generous lover, and maybe that's why. "I want to make you see the stars," he'd say, and the way he said it, the stars! Oh my God, the stars! I remember glancing out the window at the oaks. The stars weren't out yet, in all their green-gray glory, swaying in the afternoon breeze, and I felt like some wild animal engaged in some deliciously beastly act. And then I lost all sense of place and time. Could it have been love or just desire? I don't think it mattered at the time. "Oh, God, I'm coming," I screamed. "Yeah, baby, come on," he urged me unnecessarily. See, I'd already started down orgasm drive. I didn't need any help. And so I came, over and over I came, and it was, words fail really, it was unbelievably great, the best I'd ever had, which I realize what I always say after too long between orgasms. It's just that I don't want to take anything away from the event or the man. They need to know, after all, that they've improved the quality of your life in some way. The earth moved as it hadn't in far too long, and I did see stars, danced among them, to tell the truth. We came together in a release of consummated, long pent-up desire, which we'd finally acted upon with abandoned joie de vivre on that quiet Wednesday afternoon on the daybed in the solarium of my quiet Los Angeles suburban home. In one final explosive burst of sexual ecstasy, we moaned together with unparalleled pleasure, and then he collapsed upon me. There was nothing left in either of us, such was our mutual effort and joy. I was completely spent, and there was no getting around it. My new lover was dead. "Udi?" I managed to squeeze out, the weight of him keeping me from speaking above a gasp. The silence of the afternoon was already just making me twitch with fear. I tried again. "Udi?" Only quiet met my ears. Not even Stipple, my customarily ever-present, constantly meowing cat, was in attendance. And for some reason, the theme song from Rent popped into my head. 525,600. I had to get him off of me. Or maybe more accurate phrase was I had to get out from under him. If I pushed, he'd roll off the narrow daybed and onto the tile floor, potentially causing further injury, which I'd have to explain. Not that it mattered significantly if he was already dead. But I've watched CSI a few times. Why add to my trouble? Udi's death in flagrante would be unpleasant enough, but how to get him... I mean, it was heavy. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, what does a woman do in a situation like this? Which woman was the question? What would Hillary Clinton do, for example, if... Okay, that's not a good example. How about Madonna or Beyonce? They'd all handle it, that's for sure. And Queen Latifah, could you just lift the guy, person, and toss him off on the floor? The truth is, these women probably have a built-in detection system that would never allow them to have sex with anybody possessing a subpar heart. But if they had made the same mistake, what would they do? I mean, it wasn't the first time a person's died having a rumble. I don't mean just Nelson Rockefeller. Erotic expiration is actually the 12th, well, maybe 13th highest cause of death in men over 30. The only reason you don't hear about it more often is for reasons of decorum. I mean, what would you say at a funeral? Trying to lift Udi's body again, I managed to shift my butt an inch or two closer to the edge of the daybed before the dead weight of him collapsed back on top of me. This wasn't going to work, at least not in a timely fashion. I had to call someone for help, someone I could trust who wouldn't judge me. Good luck with that, right? Who doesn't judge? The point is, I had to call someone soon before Lila came home from school and got completely disgusted. I had a flash, wondering if this would have happened if I hadn't gotten divorced, or if I hadn't moved back to Los Angeles, or if I hadn't been in that book club. And then finally I wondered if that book had anything to do with my seeking out and having sex with Udi in the first place. It was possible, I supposed. At this point, anything was. But one thing I knew was true. If I'd still been married, I wouldn't have been stupid enough to bring a man who wasn't my husband to my own house for a tryst. That would demonstrate a lack of self-restraint, and I have too much of that. Straining against him, I pushed on Udi's clavicle and scrooched my upper body over and up at the same time, probably no more than a millimeter. At this rate, I'd get out from under him in about 4 hours. Reaching above me, my head, I felt around for the phone. I couldn't see it, but I hoped it would be resting in its stand on Grandma's cherry tilt-top table at one end of the daybed, instead of where I often found it, buried in the pink shower carpeting in Lila's room, battery dead after an extended phone session with one of her friends. But there it was, right where it was supposed to be. I managed to get 2 fingers around the stub of the antenna and snatch the phone out of the dock. It would only be right to call one of the people who I believed might have, indeed probably had, gotten me into this mess in the first place. You see, I did blame what happened with Udi and everything that occurred afterward on that book, and by extension, book club, or as we refer to ourselves, the MUFFIA. If I hadn't been a muff, I wouldn't have read that book. And if I hadn't read that book, then I might not have gone down the path I did. But then, of course, there's really no way of knowing. Now, you may think you know where I'm going with this, but believe me, you have no idea.